previous video, we learned how to implement dependency injection in NestJS. So there are more than one ways to implement dependency injection, which we will be covering in future videos. Currently, we are going to discuss inversion of control and how does it relate with dependency injection. So inversion of control is a design principle. It is not a design pattern. So what exactly is the difference between design principle and design pattern? Design principles provide high-level guidelines to design better software applications, whereas design pattern provides low-level solutions related to implementations. So I can say that design principle is more of a theoretical side of things, which provides you a guidelines of how to find a solution to a certain problem, whereas design pattern goes towards lower level and implements that solution. So as we discussed, inversion of control is a design principle, but what we discussed in previous video, which was dependency injection, it is a design pattern. So I can say that dependency injection is the means which we use to implement inversion of control. We saw this example earlier and I will explain again with just the help of the concept of the dependency. In English, dependency means if I use my laptop a lot to do my work, that means I am dependent upon my laptop. Similarly, car is dependent upon a lot of things, in which one of the thing is engine, right? So I can say that engine is a dependency of a car. So in this example, you can see that within a car's constructor, the engine's object is being created. So engine is just one component of a car. A car has so many things like windows, doors, and like so many things. So if I were to create a class of a car, I would have to create objects of many things, right? And all of those things are going to be called as dependency of a car, because without that the existence of a car would be impossible, right? But as I am creating the objects for each of the dependency management is being done by the code, which becomes complex and complex. Not to mention, if you change something, for example, add a new engine, change the type of the tires, change the color of the window, or whatever, change the color of the car, you might have to make your changes within this particular class of a car, which makes the entire thing tightly coupled. So the goal is to make sure that as much as loose coupling is present in your code for better software engineering principles, which is why, as you can see, currently the entire control is within the hands of a code. Inversion of control means to remove this control, for to give this control to the framework, and in this case we are learning NestJS. So give the control of the dependencies in instantiation to the NestJS framework, not keep it in your own hands. That is the entire gist of inversion of control, and that entire concept of giving your control to the NestJS framework is achieved through dependency injection. Saw this earlier, where we created a service as well as the controller. So let's understand dependency injection a bit better with this example. So as I mentioned earlier, dependency injection is a design pattern which is used to implement inversion of control. It allows the creation of dependent objects outside of a class. So as you can see here, that my controller here, which is cat's controller, it depends upon cat service. So dependency injection allows the creation of dependent objects outside of a class and provides those objects to a class through different ways. And one of the ways which we utilize here is the injection through constructor. There are two other ways for dependency injection which we will be learning later on, but you need to understand that dependency injection means to create dependent objects outside of a class and provides those objects to a class through different ways. So what we did here is that we created whatever we needed in our services here with injectable, and then we provided this with the help of our constructor. So you can say that I injected cat services to my controller through my constructor. So this way the dependency was injected into a controller. You are forgetting something. You can not directly inject anything into a controller until and unless that particular thing is registered as a provider. So here you can see that what we have to do is we have to register our service as a provider within a module in which we intend to use it. Okay, we will be studying about scopes later on, but you have to think that whatever thing, whatever service that you intend to use as a provider and you want to inject into a controller, you have to register it as a provider within a module. So what does this provider actually do, right? What does putting this cat service in this array of the providers do? So what it does is it registers this, it creates the instance of a cat service within the IOC container of NestJS. IOC means inversion of control. So there is an inversion of control container within NestJS framework which registers all of the instances of the providers which are to be injected within the controller of the entire application to all of the controllers of the entire application. This way, NestJS becomes the injector which injects the instance of a provider to the controller. And this is what the gist of the dependency injection is. Dependency injection means that the dependency needs to be injected by something else, a library or a framework. So this is how the goal of the dependency injection is achieved within NestJS framework.